Good evening. Welcome to yet another exciting episode of Bay Waves. My name is Nyeliti Baloy and I'm joined by my amazing co-host Takatso today. And we are so excited to see you. We have a lot of things jam-packed for today and our topic is life after graduation. Of course, this isn't a conversation only for graduates. If you're in university, this is probably a conversation you want to listen into to prepare yourself for what's to come in the future. But we're going to start, obviously, last week when we had our episodes, matric results weren't out yet. We're going to start with a little bit of a recap, for all our first year going students who are here to have an opportunity to just recap on the top important highlights on things to look out for as they go start their journey at different universities and colleges. But before we get into it, let me give Takatso a moment to say hello.
Hi guys, welcome to our YouTube channel. Guys, are you subscribing? I always ask you guys to subscribe. Are you subscribing to our Bold News Radio on YouTube? Please do that. Please share the page. And also, I'm welcoming you guys back to our channel. And yes, of course, we did not just leave our conversation last week hanging. We promised to come back to just usher you into the year. So that's what we'll be doing today. Yeah, how was your week, Nyeliti? How was your last week? How was your weekend?
My last week was so hectic. I mean, I wasn't with you guys last week. Gaining a little practical experience for this week's conversation. Hopefully, I'll have some good insights, that I experienced last week. But I mean, it's been a hectic week, but definitely a good week. I think it's like it's Tuesday, but it feels like it's been. Feels like it should be Thursday. Tomorrow feels like it should be Friday. But I mean, it's been a good week. Very, very productive, I must say. Only now getting back into my productivity after the new year. So I'm a bit excited to see that, little momentum. It's not where I'd like it to be at, but, making progress. And how was your week?
My week was hectic too. And unfortunately for me, I haven't gotten yet into my new year mood. I still have hangover from last year. My productivity levels are just low. I'm just feeling kind of, but then hopefully it's gonna get better. It should get better, right? It does get better. So I should get better. I have hope that it's gonna get better. But I can only imagine how the week is for the class of 2021. It's like, yeah, I can only imagine how they're feeling, the buzzing, the nervousness. I even feel nervous for them.
I totally get what you're saying. I mean, it's been a hectic week. Registrations are opening at a lot of institutions this week. I think from yesterday, people were starting to register online. So, I mean, now everyone is waiting to see their SMSs, offers. Some people are having it a bit delayed. And I mean, it can get a little nerve-wracking, like you guys said last week, to wait for that SMS to find out, has that institution taken you? Has it not? What exactly is your plan for the year? You get what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it's really important, like you said, it gets better. And sometimes when it doesn't get better, you need to make it get better for yourself. You got to fix your attitude, walk in there and say, you know what, it's fine. It doesn't look fun, but it's all right. It's all right.
You got to fake it till you make it, honey.
Fake it till you make it, girl. That's the only way. Yeah, but like you said, first year going students this year are having it quite different. I mean, at this point, there's a bit of a not quite sure whether we're doing things online or we're doing things in person. Have you heard anything in that respect? Like, do you know if a lot of institutions are going to go back into contact lessons, or do you think it's predominantly still online this year?
I think they also don't know. I think they're still like whispering around the corridors whether they should open the campuses or not. But for registrations, it would be so much better if they open the campuses, because there's too much issues that cannot be fixed online. Plus, one thing about our country, the system is always offline. So it would be better to have walk-in registrations and then go back to like online classes. But again, I think we've gotten used to COVID so much that we are more disciplined now. and people should get vaccinated as soon as they can. Guys, you're not gonna die. I promise you, I'm still alive. So if I'm still alive, you're still gonna be alive. So do get vaccinated, because if ever there's gonna be contact classes, I'm like 90% sure that half of the universities will require a vaccination certificate for you to sit in class. So there's that too. But I feel like we should go back to contact learning. It's like this online learning is just, it doesn't bang, man. Like, I need to see the lecture. I need to be in the same room as the lecture and not understand you. Now, imagine not understanding the lecture and your mom is calling you in the background. It, like, online learning, honestly, it doesn't work. So if anything, they should go back to contact classes. But mostly, if they don't go back to contact classes, they should at least have walk-in registrations. Then you can solve the problems there. Because I'm facing something that's really horrible. I can't be registered with the health council because my South African ID is incorrect, which does not make sense, and the online services are not working. Like, they're just not working. So I can imagine the frustration that the learners are gonna get when they find such issues online, they're not being able to walk into the university and inquire about them. So honestly, I really hope they make life easier, like going back to work in registrations.
I think you raised really good points. And, in the event that they don't have walk-in registrations, I know for us, walk-in registrations, if they ever happen, normally happen towards the beginning of the semester. So for the first week or two, it's solely online. And only then, towards the beginning of official lectures, do they do walk-in registrations. But I know a lot of institutions, particularly the one I go to, they open up a lot of numbers for help with registrations. So you know how normally the student center will have maybe 3 people working in their call center to answer student calls. During online registrations, they actually get a lot of volunteers, and you find that they have a good 30 people answering phones about queries for registrations. So I'd really love to urge the first year going students, and generally anyone who's registering, check if your institution has got anything like that. Their call centers are pretty good. They're often able to assist you. So, like, call them with all your things ready, have your student number, don't call them and then say, please hold, and then you're looking for things, have everything in place. They will definitely assist you. But I genuinely think online registrations are so much easier. Like, there isn't the pressure of having to make quick. I feel like for me, when I'm standing in a line and I see people are behind me waiting to do something, like at the counter that I'm at, I really try and make it fast. I remember when I registered in first year, actually, so I went and I did my registration in person and got my student card and everything, because I had a bursary, but the list, it was a little complicated to have it register online, and because I wanted to register early. So I got a person at the student center to just assist me. And it was like pretty quick. I think it took me about 10 minutes to have everything done and ready, and I walked out. I was so shocked because we left here really early, and by 9 o'clock I was done with registrations and I had my student card. And it was like, whoa, this is weird. It was a free day. But yeah, I remember doing things in person. It was like, when I had to look at all my, I had electives in first year, and I had to look at them, and I hadn't completely made up my mind about what electives I wanted to take. But at that point, the line was so long, you're feeling too anxious to open every elective and kind of read the description and take your time. You just feel like, I need to get out of here. These people are going to get angry, So in the event that anyone is going to register on campus, please try do all your research early. If you have the access to do that, if you're going to choose electives, have your modules written down, have everything ready, so that when you get there, you know what you're going to do. I think it's very frustrating, even for the people helping you. If you get there and you're like, I'm not sure. They're like, okay, what's your module, your course number? And you're like, oh, let me check, things like that. It's really frustrating. So with everything right now, time is of the essence. Everyone is trying to get registered. Everyone wants to get to a spot where they are safe and secure. And I mean, even with residences, if you are accepted at a number of residences, cancel your placements at the other places. Choose your place and cancel. There are a lot of people on wait list waiting
Yeah.
for you to move it along. So I'd really love to urge everyone listening, if you are going to pick your res, you're going to choose your institutions, whether you're registering in person and there are people waiting behind you, try make it quick, give other people a chance.
And another very important thing, to avoid running around like a headless chicken, try and get all your documents certified before you board onto any bus, onto any taxi, onto any airline. Make sure that all your documents, you have even extras that are certified. Because we live in SA, you need a certified copy for everything. I think that's one of the tips that we gave last week, to have your things certified. And like if you got selected at another university, please don't forget to reject the other offers. If you've made up your mind that you're going to Takatso University, please don't forget to reject the other offers, so that another child can find a spot there. Because we all want to go to that city. Also, another tip that we gave last week was look out for scammers. But they've already started. Guys, you don't have to pay anyone. Like, you don't have to pay Takatso campus to register for you. Please don't fall for that. Like, there's no Takatsos who can get into the system and get you admitted by paying a certain amount of money. Please do not fall for that. Like, universities take credit cards and debit cards only. It's like most of the universities are cashless. So if you see yourself taking out cash to pay for something that's for the university except for food, know that you're being scammed, and just run for your life.
Very true. And avoid e-wallets. Guys, we had this conversation the week before. Please don't pay anything by e-wallet. You can't trace it. It's a bad idea. No institution is going to ask you to send an e-wallet, right? Because imagine, do you think the dean of your faculty will be running around with ATMs, withdrawing your e-wallets? It's not happening. It's not how it works.
It's e-wallets, and it's e-wallets. There's the Upside Cash Send. There's the Capitex cash, like anything that you cannot trace back, that you can't authorize by yourself at the bank. Just don't fall for it. Never fall for that. Very important. I can't stress this enough, guys. Like, it's January, you're gonna be stressing your parents. The last thing you need is getting scammed in a big city. So do look after yourself. We mentioned this last week. Do look after yourself.
Very true, Takatso. But anywho, now that we've spoken registrations, there are other things. So after registration, that's when it really gets real. You are a student. At the point that you register, you are officially a student. And I know orientations are starting up. And, last week, you guys definitely touched on the importance of going to orientations, having all of that information yourself. Also, guys, please note, it's 2022. There are online maps of your campuses. I best believe it exists. So familiarize yourself, just download the online map, have it on your phone, look at it before you go to class, right? So you kind of have an idea of where you're going. Look at the surrounding areas as well. Perhaps you'll be walking and you won't quite remember where your class is, but if you remember, oh no, there's the aula grass next to engineering 1, then you know that, okay, I'm on the right path. So it's very important, look at your maps. And guys, a very big thing, please don't buy your textbooks before you are told what textbooks to buy. A lot of senior students at this point need money for various things, right? I know a lot of senior students are selling their textbooks to gather money for registration. And I'll be telling you, these are the books I used last year, but that's not necessarily the book you may use this year. And you'll have spent thousands of rands buying secondhand books that you will not use. It's very important. Wait for the official list of all your books before you go and you purchase books, because seniors will sell you the wrong book. It's like with tax law. So you know how the tax laws, they're updated yearly. So we need a new textbook for tax law every year. If they're selling you the 2020 tax law textbook, you are definitely learning the wrong laws. And if you're going to be learning the wrong laws, you won't be able to apply your information correctly. So it's very important, first year students, please wait for official communication, right? Same thing as going to campuses. They addressed this last week. Don't run to UJ because you applied at UJ. UJ hasn't accepted you yet, wait for official communication. And in the event that you're anxious that you're not getting communication, try give them a call before you actually go there. I know a lot of campuses aren't permitting people just onto campus for no reason. So you won't have the situation where you show up at UJ's gate and you can walk in and go to student administration. It doesn't work like that.
True. Well, unfortunately for me, I don't have much to say about that because I've never experienced the hardships of being on campus. I made friends quickly. I think this is what's going to help you to navigate your campus. Make friends quickly. We told you last week to move in a group all the time. So the bestest of friends that you can get has to be in the same class as you. Those are the best people that you can get. So that when you get lost, the Lily 15, so now class can't start because the Lily So you try doing that. About textbooks, it's very important to wait for your lecturer to tell you which book to buy. Don't just rush to buy it because you've now been accepted in engineering and then you go buy whatever book you're being offered. Wait for communication first. Like varsity guys, you have to wait for your lecturer to tell you about the books. You don't just go and buy a book. So that is also very important. I think we didn't talk about this this week, but yeah.
But besides that, we are open to questions. So please do drop any questions, any comments that you have in the comment section. We'd really love to answer any questions that you have. Is it about res? Is it about campus? I think amongst ourselves, we have people who went to a variety of institutions. So there'll definitely be someone to help, but we know someone who knows someone or who knows another person. The chain of information is very long. It's very possible to get a lot of help nowadays with things online. But before we go forward, we have been joined by another one of our co-hosts, Happiness. I'll just give her an opportunity to say hello.
Hi, good evening, everyone, all the audience and the listeners, and good evening to my co-host as well.
Hello.
Thank you, Happiness. We have a few comments on our Facebook. Kenneth says, those who will be registering in private colleges, please check if the courses are registered. Bear in mind that a college can be registered, but certain courses may not be registered within that institution. So guys, I know it sounds very complex, but it's actually not that difficult. There are accredited courses or degrees or diplomas with certain institutions in South Africa. You need to make sure that what you are studying is an actually recognized qualification, right? And this is something we're going to discuss even going forward. Like I said, our topic is life after graduation, but this equally applies to all current students. It's never too late to just quickly check, is the qualification that I'm doing actually a qualification that's recognized, or am I spending 3-4 years of my time and investing so much money for something that is not recognized as an actual qualification?
And that would hurt, hey? That would be a total something.
I actually know of someone who experienced something of this sort, and it was quite heartbreaking. I think it's also very important, especially like he said, with the private colleges. With public institutions, there's a lot more regulation. It's quite difficult for them to shire you, but with a lot of these private colleges, you need to be very careful. You need to make sure that the place itself actually exists. Don't go to a fly-by-night school. I know a lot of people right now are probably panicked about not having received communication from the institutions of their choices. Don't go find a school and not double check that it is an actual school with decent facilities. You also don't want to find yourself, it's like, if I don't know, you see, the thing with these colleges is that I can't give an example, because what if I've said something that actually exists as a college and I'm just mixing random names. But say you find the name of a fancy suburb and you think, oh, I'm going to be at a place of such a standard, but you find it to be in a questionable area. There are things like that. You can have Pretoria College in Johannesburg. It's not in Pretoria, but they call it Pretoria College. You need to be careful about small things like that. We have a hand from our comments. I will give Happiness a opportunity to let us know what it says. Yes, Happiness?
I'm not only from the comment section, I'm also going to be throwing in some input. So regarding that, there's actually a way you can find out if your college or university is registered. You can either head over to the Department of Education website to see that if it's listed there, or alternatively, you can send an email to registrarfet@doe.gov.za. So sometimes you might find that a college is registered, but they have deregistered it. So you can only know about the status on the website or through the email. So please look out for that.
Can you just drop it in our comment section so that
100%.
All right.
I see someone in the comments asked me for my res experience. So I won't go into too much detail because what if my ex-roommate is watching this video? But I think I genuinely had a positive res experience. I think things just kind of changed towards the end of the year. But I mean, I went to UP. They have a very strong culture with regards to res orientations and, all of that stuff. So we started with all week was great. I mean, I was tired after 4 days of all week because they were constant social. So, okay, I'll walk everyone through. If you're going to UP, well, now you have a crash course on what your all week is going to look like. So at my all week, first day, have that whole meeting with everyone's parents, and we're all sitting in the hall and they're telling your parents about how they're going to take care of you and truthful stuff in all truth. But telling your parents how they're going to take care of you, and then it's all goodbyes and all tears and crying and, oh, okay, I'll miss you, oh, I'm going to miss your food, and all of that with your parents. And then they eventually leave. And after that, we started with so we have a first year concert. It's quite unfortunate. Last year we had our first year concert online. But either way, we have a first year concert. So we practice our songs, our dances. We have about 8 songs we dance to in our one performance. So you cut the songs into little pieces, and all that stuff is great. And then you have a thing with the vice chancellor in the evening, some big events. And then, throughout the week, you are kind of balancing between going on campus for orientations. So like, first you're gonna have a general one with all the people in your degree. So we had all the law students in the one hall, and they were kind of telling us, so law, first of all, is not suits. It's not how to get away with murder. That's not what you're gonna experience here. They're gonna tell you the truth about what it looks like. Because so many people get there thinking I'm gonna be a Mike Ross. There's no Mike Ross. It's not happening. So yeah, you have a little bit of that. And then thereafter, you have sessions with your different module leaders, your course coordinators. So law of persons, Roman law, I can't remember my first year modules anymore, but all of that stuff. So you're going to have one by one and a little mixture of other things. You'll have presentations from different student bodies within the school. So how we have a law faculty, and your governing body of your law faculty, you'll have law associations, student associations, you'll have different people, you have sports people come to talk to you, just to give you a bit of a feel of the culture. But so you do that in the morning, and then in the evening you go back to res and you practice your dances, and then you have time for socials. So we had socials every evening all week. You'd walk. So we had our socials predominantly with the male reses. So all our, except one, but all our reses besides that one are separated, male and female. And the male res is about 2 kilometers away from the female reses. They are on, the other campus. So then we had a lot of socials with the male reses, just, interactions. dance, sucky music, perform, all of that stuff. But I think I enjoyed being able to go to all week at res rather than having all week all alone, staying in a flat. And the reason for this is because when you're at res, first of all, I walked to my campus all week sessions with people who are doing the same degree as me in res. So you don't feel lonely. You already, like, they may not end up as your friends, but you have a group to associate with until you get to a point where you decide these are my friends, or you decide now I'm going to make other friends and these will be my friends. But you know, you have that little sense of community. It's not feeling all alone. And I had a roommate in first year for 8 months. Yes, for about 8 months. My roommate was my best friend generally when we got there. We tried to be very cute. Go out for breakfast on Saturdays. We'd buy, so you know how the dining hall doesn't have dinner on weekends. So you have like, and there's no breakfast. Yeah, there's no breakfast. It's weird. But like there's early lunch. So the dining hall is open between 11 and about 4 over the weekends. So you sort yourself out for breakfast and then you can get lunch and also get something that you put in the fridge and have for dinner. Whenever you have dinner. So the dining hall is open for very few times. So we'd go out for breakfast. We were cute like that. We decided not to buy dinner and, you know, we'd buy pizza and then keep the pizza and have it for dinner together. So I think my res experience was very positive in that sense. And when I made friends, they became her friends. And when she made friends, they became her friends. So we had a very nice big circle. I think when the academic year started building up, things did start getting a little hectic, you know. I think we started to realize that we have different study methods. So I work in the mornings till the afternoon. So around this time, I pretty much knock off from my desk. And at this time, it's about 7:30. So I normally watch a little something on Netflix, go take a shower, come back and probably go to sleep, right? Whereas with her, she would sleep in the afternoons and then wake up in the evenings. And I mean, res rooms aren't all that big, right? It's quite a small space. So even if you have a desk lamp switched on at your table, the whole room is bright just from a desk lamp, right? It's quite small. So we started having small disagreements with things like that. You know, because someone else is awake at night, they make a lot of coffee, kutu, 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 you know, the mugs, you know, it's like little disagreements like that actually ended up building up because we didn't communicate properly when we felt bothered. So it's kind of like, oh, she makes a noise at night. Oh, you know, like everything just kind of builds up until you get to a point where everyone just kind of explodes. And I think that's kind of what led to the deterioration of our very beautiful friendship. I think we've made amends now. After I left the room, so I finally got my own room. So I left our shared room and I went and I got another room. So she had our shared room alone and I also got a sharing room alone. So yeah, after not living together, we became friends again. I think we just couldn't live together. We were too different. But I think one thing just generally that really comes out from my first year res experience is that, like they said last week, it's very important to communicate. You know, don't let small things like lights be the cause of a toxic relationship. Because you see, the thing is, everyone gets so upset at each other. When the other person walks into the room, you feel upset, right? And that's not good for you emotionally, because you are putting so much anger and you're harboring so much anger within you. So I think if there's definitely one thing I would change from my res experience is being able to communicate what I liked and what I didn't like with my roommates. And I'm sure we would have been able to find a compromise had we actually spoken up about it.
Definitely, you would have found some way to work it out, because I understand your frustrations. I'm a night owl. I also sleep half of the day, like half of the normal waking hours I'm asleep, and I will sleep the whole day. But around 9, that's when I want to get busy. I want to clean. I want to mop the floor, and people are sleeping. So I would understand that you'd be mad. And I understand that she was mad that you were busy when she was sleeping. So like it's small things like that. It's And then if you can, the moment you see for you and your housemates are polar opposites, it's best to have a coffee in the morning and just talk it out like, hi, I do this, I'm usually comfortable with this, but then if you feel like this step and let's try doing this, like just talk it out. People are not really horrible. I mean, they are horrible. Zero stars. I give people 0 stars, but then you can talk to people like they understand. They're human too. They can understand. So when you get that chance to talk things out, do that as soon as you can, because your rest is gonna be your home for that. Like it's gonna be your home, literally your home. If your lecture made you mad, you're gonna come back to your rest, and you can't go there because homeness yatamai. But the first thing to do when you get to rest, the best thing to do will be to establish a community of your own. Because trust me, if you're from a big family and then you now get to be alone, Rotopa Vescopis within like 2 weeks. So do find people around you, even if they're not, as Melody said, even if they're not gonna be your friends in the long run. While you're still looking for friends, just have like immediate people around you so that you don't feel alone. You like the rest will be the saddest place like Shabeni, at the same time, Ili, the happiest place. But yeah, do establish communities. That's the best thing to go about. And we're going to talk about this again: discipline, 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 discipline. No one is responsible for you. You are responsible for yourself. You have to make sure that you're eating. You have to make sure that you're not out drinking on a Wednesday. You have to make sure that you've done your assignment on time. You have to make sure that when you are okay. So you have to discipline yourself. Even if it seems nice out there, you have to remain in your room and study because you have a test tomorrow. Even if Tahaza comes and tell you, let's go right now, you need to develop that thing that we call a backbone to say no. And you need to learn to say no. Practice our learning registration, how to say no. I'll take happiness hand.
You know, ke mo ke realizang gore mathata mantši a ka fedisha ke communication. Honestly, coming to think of all the experiences that I had in res or university that could have been avoided ka communication. One thing that I also want to say, which is important that I think we didn't talk about, it's manners. You might come from a privileged family where they don't allow you to make your bed or wash the dishes. But when you go to rest, that's not your father's house. Have manners. Learn to do your bed, learn to wash dishes. You know, some things Baba already expect that you should know them by the age of 7. So Rama Kalari Fita Varsity and Lebajuani, please. I know there are also parents watching this show. Please encourage your children. Yeah, they might have a helper at home, but make them aware of the place that they're going to. They're not gonna have a helper. Yeah.
You know, like I do understand of manners, ne? I can tolerate you not making your bed. I can tolerate you not washing dishes. But guys, the bathroom that we share, please, man, you're not alone. You're not alone. Like, you're not alone. Keep the bathroom clean. We had a huge problem in my festive because one of the girls just didn't care about the bathroom. Like, you'd get there and have to clean up after her. Now, this is a very old person with a hopeful mind. But still, the bathroom is a mess. Like, you can imagine the bed. At least we are not sharing bedrooms. But guys, please, like, if just be someone that people can live with. Do you understand? Like, yeah, be someone that people can live with.
And I think it's
And
also very important. Yes, happiness, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. On that note, I just want to add on in wiki tabaya selfishness. You know, my first year I used to stay in a commune. So there'll be people that wake up early just to finish hot water, guys. Just know that you're going there to live with people. Do not be selfish. We all enjoy our hot baths, but how it doesn't make sense, or when you're gonna have that hot bath for an hour while the other kid is gonna have a cold thingy. And it's not only about the hot water, also the time. Re kana sekolo kaofela in the early hours. So does it make sense or you're gonna take so much long in the bathroom when you know there's another one who's gonna go in and they have to be at the same time? I mean, at the same time that you're in classing. So I think we should also talk about that, address that behavior.
That's really true happiness. I remember in O week, our day started at 6. So in O week, orientation week, we had breakfast at 6. Crazy, but we had breakfast at 6, me. And guys, were we not all trying to shower in the mornings? Like, I mean, if your day starts at 6 and like you probably came home from your social the previous night at like midnight. So everyone is trying to take a shower or take a bath just slightly before breakfast. But that wasn't working out. So I think I started showering during all week. I showered at 3:30 in the morning, guys. It is crazy. But I was showering at 3:30 in the morning because you go to the bathrooms at 4 or at 5 and the line is so long. You will either miss breakfast or you will go without bathing. And I'm not about to have either. So I was in the shower at 3:30. But also, while you were addressing manners, I think it's also very important for everyone to be kind, even to the people who are helping us in our residences. I've seen so many people who are so rude to the ladies who help us within our race. So I stayed in the female race. So obviously the people inside were ladies, or the gardeners outside. Guys, there's like, I know people normally said that they hate this phrase, that it costs 0 rand to ... but it doesn't cost you anything to be nice to those people. I remember in my first year, so I wasn't at that same residence in the beginning of second year. I only went back last year. But I remember there was this lady, guys, that money became my mother. I remember some days after a very long day on campus, like after just being through all the storms, and I'd find her waiting there by the stairs, and she'd give me a hug and we'd sit and we'd talk. She literally became like my mom. And it's very easy for people, like Happiness has said, if you come from privileged backgrounds, to undermine those people. But it's very important to understand that they are human. They are taking care of you. Literally, those people are acting like your mother or your father at race. They are making sure that everything is running smoothly for you. So it's very important, guys, please be kind to everyone, from the gardeners, everyone who's there. Please show courtesy. Greet them in the mornings. Don't be those people who just walk past people and not greet. Like, did your mother not teach you any manners? Did your father not teach you any manners? So yeah, it's very important. Don't go there and grow wings and think you're not going to talk to someone who doesn't have a degree. Also, you really just don't know about those people. I remember one of the gardeners that I was raised was actually doing their masters, and you're out here thinking because of your diploma you think you are on cloud 9. No, honey. He greets.
Yeah,
100%.
we're still watching. Okay, this is
Right.
Happiness's thing. No, this is your thing, my baby. This is your thing.
You are still watching Bay Waves at Bold Moves Radio. We are currently talking about life in campus and rest. So I encourage all viewers, all the audience, to drop down tips for those first year. They need them. Things to do and things not to do. You can also share your experience there in the comment section. The topic today is life after graduation. So if you have a story to tell, please make sure you leave it for me in the comment section so that I can bring it here. Over to you, Nyedeti.
Thank you, Happiness. As Happiness said, the topic originally today was life after graduation. It's still our topic. We just wanted to make sure that we are refreshing, right? So every day, just give a little refresher, things not to do, things to do for first year students. And we really hope that you guys are excited. And if in any case, either your matric results didn't go well, they didn't go as planned, or perhaps you haven't gotten admission into the institution of choice or any institution at all, it's very important for you to understand that it is really not the end of the world. I've seen many people who have taken time off, so they didn't get accepted into any institutions, and they took that year to work on themselves, whether you're going to upgrade your marks, whether you're going to go find a job, to gain some experience, job shadow here and there, but don't let this year go to waste, right? So if really your plans didn't work out for the year, still try to find a way to make it look productive, because like we said, we're talking about life after graduation today, and it's very important that on whatever platform, so whether you're putting it on your LinkedIn or on your CV, it doesn't just look like you had this big gap of time where you were unproductive. It doesn't reflect well on you. So if and in any event you're taking a gap year, or like I said, your plans didn't work out, try fill out that gap, that whole year, with a little something, even if it's like a 2-week vacation work or internship or something, but keep yourself busy. It reflects well on you, and when you eventually try now to look for other opportunities, you will be a viable candidate for these different places that you're looking for work or institutions you're applying to. Happiness has a hand. Yes, Happiness?
Yes, still on the gap year thing. I think I've had a continuous debate with Takhatso, so we're going to go into it after this. So I just want to emphasize the importance of our audience engagement. It helps us to reach our target audience. So I just want to also ask them, the 5 people watching on Facebook right now, please share the airing on Facebook so that we can reach more of our audience. Thank you.
And like with your plans not working out, I wish parents could be more supportive to their kids. Like if they failed their matric, just remind them that is not the end of the world. Like there's no need to be in their ear reminding them how they didn't work hard, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. They've had challenges along the way, and honestly, there was no all of us who did matric, but not all of us did the 2021 matric. So we can't really like bash them that much. They had so many challenges. They didn't go to school, teachers this, it was just a mess. So if you didn't get the results that you're hoping for, if you failed, if you have to supplement, if you have to upgrade, I hope you remember how you did what you could. And it's not the end of the world that you didn't get. Like guys, scholars like honestly, that you kidding, that's fucking happiness.
Please don't set me up. Don't set me up, my sister.
But okay, guys, this is a marathon. I'm just gonna throw in words that I have read, but this is a marathon, not a whatever. So don't worry if you still have to go back to matric. If you have to go back to class, please go back to class. And I wish schools, there's this other school that I won't mention, but they do not take back a repeating matriculants to whatever reasons. But I hope they find a way around that, because they're literally setting up these kids for failure. But I do hope they change that and take them back, because why are you not taking them back? But anyways, please be gentle of yourself. Now I'm a huge fan of softness. So don't break your neck trying to, let's cut the polaya. Oh, another important thing, let's cut the polaya. Guys, don't kill yourself. Please, don't kill yourself. Go and try again. Go do something, volunteer, do something your name is gonna happen. But if you have to take some time off, it's totally fine to take time off. Happiness, they say we're gonna get into this, but yeah.
I always disagree with you on that one. When you're taking a gap year, I do not encourage just to fast. Yes, mental health is important, but do something. I think Charles Darwin was right to a certain extent. If you don't continue doing something, then you lose that ability to do it eventually, or it won't be as perfect as it used to. If I spent like the whole 2 years not being able or practicing solve for X, me going back might need me or revise and do the 1 2 3 1 2 3, learn a few things before I can be able to do it. So I encourage, or when you're doing if you decide or you take a gap year, please make sure you do something. It can be volunteering at a nearby community, whatsoever, or studying. There are also those crash courses that are for free on the internet. Maybe we can find a link from Mashodi or Lituku where we can get them, but just be doing something. And then I just like, a year is too long for you to just sit down or you're taking a break. You're just calling depression.
I'm so sorry, Takatso, but I have to agree with Happiness. I'm so sorry. I think I see the validity on both of your points. So I'll give an example. Well, I wasn't taking a gap year, it was recess. And I mean, recess is for resting. But this past recess, I go to work during recess, right? So I always try to keep myself busy. Normally I'll take a week off, and then right after that, go to work right until about 5 days before school opens. And because I have to start getting ready, start packing. I mean, packing is a process. I literally pack the whole week. But yeah, so I normally go to work, but after last year, so last year was my third year, I was so tired. I remember just, towards the end of our tests, I was at this is not working out anymore. I am tired. I think my mind was still fine, but my body was at a point of this is, so when we finally got to recess, my mom was like to me, okay, now it's recess, you're not sitting at your desk, right? So I didn't sit on this chair for a good 3 weeks after the semester ended, simply because I needed time to rest, right? And I think when you have a gap year, you need to be able to strike a balance between emotional recharging and getting back into work. So yes, I don't encourage just sitting around the whole year and saying, oh, I'm on a gap year. Your gap year should be productive, right? So a gap year isn't just a year of your life where nothing is going on with you. It should be a year where you are working on yourself. It's a gap until you do something, right? So we don't call it a free year, we call it a gap year. So in that gap, you should be doing something to help you connect to whatever is next for you. So if after matric, my marks weren't good enough, and I couldn't get into a university, and then I said I'm taking a gap year, then in that gap year you should either be improving your marks or doing something that will make you be able to get into university, right? It makes no sense that my matric results didn't get me into university, and then in my gap year I'm sitting, right? You're not doing a short course that helps you get in. You are not upgrading your marks. Then what miracle are you thinking is going to change between the year when you finished your matric and the next year because you haven't improved yourself? What exactly makes you attractable to these different institutions? And I think for a lot of matric class of 2021, if you're taking a gap year, I need you to seriously consider the things that you are trying to do. Like, what are you trying to achieve? So a gap year should still have goals that you are aiming to achieve. And this applies equally after graduation, right? So if after graduation you are unable to secure a job, or you couldn't get training, or your internship, in that space of time between when you finish and when you move on to the next step of your life, there should be something that you're doing. Make yourself attractable. I myself, as an employer, in all truth, if I had a graduate who graduated in 2021 and said, okay, so I'm a law student, so I'll say, this person wasn't able to secure articles, right? And you're telling me I didn't get articles for 2022. And I asked you, okay, so what have you been doing between then and now, right? You didn't get articles because no one was able to, or no one wanted to hire you. What now makes you think someone will want to hire you now? What have you improved? And if you haven't improved anything, then honestly, you're not serious about looking for employment.
That's a really tough one on my side, personally. Guys, now I just want to say, I hate whoever came up with the concept of corporate. Mudimu already in the Garden of Eden to walk around and just enjoy the fruits. But someone had to come and say, guys, the man miracle. So to whoever that is, I just want you to know wherever you are. I do not even update. But then with after graduation is a different thing. Like, I get with matric, there's a lot that you can do, but there's just this crippling thing after graduation about not securing a job. Like, we have the highest unemployment rate in South Africa. So if I am the employer and you come to me telling me you couldn't find articles, if you like South Africa and not thinking from a position of privilege, I would understand that you did everything you could to secure articles, but you couldn't. And then that's why you had that gap in like, we live in South Africa, guys. I think even employers have to like think of this thing when they're trying to look at you who are attractive. They should remember that we live in South Africa, and South Africa can be healing. I've never been to hell, but I think if we were to be in hell, South Africa would be the hell. But then, yeah. And then I think also to help you cap that, there is the critical skills kind of a thing, of which it was a scam that I fell for, but I hope for others it won't be a scam. I think this course is a critical skill kind of a course. But yeah, we're gonna get into that. But I think Nyeliti has to come in first before I can tell you about this.
Thank you, Takhat. So I'll give it back to you to talk about the critical skills. I think I want to address something that you spoke about with regards to unemployment and employers. I'll speak because I've spoken to a few employers, right, who have expressed their concerns about a lot of graduates, right? So I know someone who was looking for people to work in his office, right? For a good 3 months, he was searching and he didn't find anyone who he felt could do the job. And not because they didn't go to school, but simply because a lot of our graduates are just graduates. So you go to school, you graduate, and then what? You get what I mean? Like, so then, what is it about you that makes you stand out from the next graduate? I think a lot of, especially if you want to go corporate, that is something a lot of corporates look at. So I'll speak with an example from law firms. So in South Africa, we have the so-called big 5 law firms, right? And spread amongst them, they probably take about 200 law graduates for articles, right? In a year. And that's quite generous. And you can imagine, I know in the University of Pretoria, we have a good 300 to 500 law graduates or law students in a class in a year. So that's a lot of people. And now you imagine it's not just the University of Pretoria, it's spread amongst many institutions. So when you look at how many people they hire and how many graduates that we have, and I mean, depending on what kind of path a law graduate wants to take, you can decide you want to go be an advocate or you want to go be an attorney. But I know for a lot of people who decide that they want to be attorneys, and to be an attorney, you must serve your articles. A lot of them consider wanting to work at a big 5 because, well, they pay well and it's a big 5, right? It's a big company. It looks good on your name, right? So you say something like, I worked at a big 5, and everyone gives you, and yeah, they want to listen to you. But now, Taha, so that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to bring out, to say that, okay, you're a graduate. So are there many thousands of other people who are applying at that same place? What makes you special, right? So I think that's something a lot of people need to start considering, because the truth is our economy can't employ everyone as it stands, right? It simply can't happen. So we're going to need people who employ themselves, and from employing themselves, employ other people, right, amongst ourselves as young graduates. So if you're looking for a job at one of these big 5 firms, something about you needs to look good. First of all, you need to have excellent marks to get into a big 5. But otherwise than that, they look for a lot of other things. So it doesn't even have to be a lot. Takhato, right now, you are hosting a radio program. That's something you can definitely talk about in your interview. It's something that makes you stand out because it looks like you are doing more than just what you studied for. They look for ability to adjust to different situations and for you to be open to doing other things, right? So I'm not a law graduate, but theoretically, I'm a law graduate. So you're a law graduate, and what else? What is it about you that makes you so great that you're going to go work at this big corporate company, right? And that's a conversation about building your brand that really needs to happen. I feel like a lot of our young people, yes, South Africa's unemployment rate is quite high, but I think a lot of our students and our graduates don't do enough, because we can see that the level of unemployment is high, meaning it's a very competitive environment. I'm sure you can all agree. If you know that so many people are unemployed and you want to get a job, you know you're fighting against a lot of people to get a job. So if you're going to be in a competition fighting with a lot of people to get a job, then you need to do something yourself to make you the ideal candidate to get a job. But besides that, going back to the example I gave you with the person who was looking for graduates to work at his company, he felt that a lot of graduates simply couldn't think, right? So you passed, sure. You have your academic records showing you that, no, you passed all your modules, you have your certificate, you have your degree. But when they ask you a question that requires you to critically think, you kind of, I don't know, maybe, and so, and sometimes the thing is, sometimes you don't know, right? But you must be confident in the answer that you don't know. So you can't go to an interview and they ask you a question and you say, I'm not sure. No, I don't know. And you leave it at that. No, try and be confident in your attempt. You tell them that, no, I'm trying. But okay, this is for the second part of our conversation for today, but it ties in a lot to unemployment. There are a lot of reasons for unemployment. We know that getting a job is hard in South Africa. And we must not try to live in a euphoria, right? This is the real world. And in the real world, you need to look attractive. In the ideal world, everyone will get employed, right? The ideal world, South Africa is great. They pay us all well. We all have jobs. We are all living fancy. We are all secured, but that's not the reality. The reality is you need to do something to make yourself look attractive. And if you're just a graduate like the thousands of other graduates, then you're most likely going to end up in the pool of unemployed graduates.
Happiness had her hand raised.
I'm mad. I'm actually mad right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think reality hacked into my brain because she just copied and pasted literally everything that I wanted to say, copied and pasted it here. But yeah, I think another thing that we need to address, ke taba ya gore we are all waiting to be employed. I mean, as Nyaleti has said, we must always know gore you are not the only one that is applying for that job that you're applying for. There are probably thousands or hundreds applying for the same job. So what makes you stand out? And are you only going to wait for those people to respond, or at that moment, are you also going to be doing something? Because tabaya wa proactive, it's also a good thing. It adds on your this thing of selling yourself. Okay, I didn't get the job, but I was doing this on the side. I'm a very big fan of TikTok, and I've seen a lot of people successful through that platform. I know somebody who has been trying to get into this entertainment industry for so long, but couldn't even make it to a mere Mzansi Bioscope show. But because they use that TikTok platform to showcase their skills, they are now in these big shows that we are watching every day. So sometimes you should look for other platforms that could connect you to your dream job. And we have a lot of resources, just that we don't want to use them. Or sometimes I'm going to make this TikTok video, but nobody's going to pay me. Like this whole channel that we have, Pay Waves or Bold Moves, it's a volunteer run show. Nobody pays us. Somebody would be thinking, look, I'm going to use my time, my data, and I'm not going to get paid. But look, this is going to pay you big time in your CV. This is called selling yourself. So yeah. Besides that, I'm mad at Nyaleti for hacking into my brain.
I'm definitely gonna stay out of this conversation because number one, I'm not a fan of hustle culture. Number two, I'm not a fan of the digital world in anything. So I'm just gonna stay out of it completely. Because there's a lot that I want to say. There's a lot that I disagree with. There's a lot that is on my mind right now. But then it's gonna prolong this. So I'm just gonna stay out of it.
But Tarat, I mean, it's very important for us to be able to show the different perspectives. I'm pretty sure there's someone who's listening here who probably disagrees with what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is very, like, it's hustle culture, right? So you've got to put yourself out there. I think I myself, I don't mind hustling because I want to get to a point where I live a soft life. And soft life will not come to you. It doesn't happen. It will never. And if it comes to you, you've done something wrong, right? You are either leeching off someone else to get the soft life that you want, and I don't want to be in that position, right? Or you used connections in the wrong way, right? You don't want to find yourself in commissions of inquiry. Yeah, we know. Hopefully you don't end up on I blew it. But, things like that. I believe in hustling. And I think the reason I believe in hustling is because I've done a lot, not a lot of hustling, but I mean, I've shot my shots at a lot of opportunities and it paid out for me. Right. So I definitely see, and I've seen with my parents as well, sometimes you have to, take that bold step. Right. I know my dad, I'm pretty sure sometime in the next few weeks, we're going to have him as a guest, and I'll be calling him Mr. Baloy, but I'll call him my dad now because he's not here. But I know that to get to the point that he's at in his career, he had to put a lot of effort. So he could have simply said, okay, I have this qualification, I have all this accreditation. It's fine. I can simply just live like the other people, right? So he's a financial advisor. He could have simply said, I can be content in being a financial advisor right now and at this point in time. But he didn't, right? He tried to expand his portfolio and he's been doing a lot of other things, our markets, my daddy's business, so myself, because that is our bread and butter. But I mean, he's now gotten accreditation to do estate planning, right? He's now a tax practitioner. He does a lot of things, right? He's got a real estate agency now. And all of these things didn't just come, right? He could have simply said, okay, I'm a financial advisor now. I'm content at where I'm at. But he could see that, no, we need to move, right? I want my children to have access to things that I didn't have access to. And that means putting in time, that means putting in effort, right? I know for a fact, my dad last year was going to the office at 4 or 5 in the morning after coming back at a good 11 in the evening. And he'd go and he'd study, and then at 7 start his work, because if he doesn't work, it works based on commission. So that is just to say, happiness, hustling does pay out, right? At this point, all these things are up and running simply because he took the step to hustle. Things don't come easy. It's very and I think for a lot of graduates, they want things to come easy, and it doesn't happen. And then we end up with all this frustration, and we say, oh, the government this, oh, the government that. But sometimes we need to take initiative on our own. Guys, the government can't do everything for us. If you want the government to do everything for us, then our taxes are going to get higher. And I mean, our taxes are already up in the roof. We can't do it anymore, right? So I think a lot of people need to start taking self-initiative, right? If you're not starting your own business, then do something to make yourself marketable, right? You can't just sit. Soft life does not come to you. Takato, you must hustle, right? You hustle now,
That's
you live
something I
good in
want
a
to know
few
from
years.
her. I want
Yeah.
to know, Rory, I know she's one for soft life. So I want to know, how do you plan on achieving that with just your salary? We all know that a salary is not good enough.
You see me, my baby, ne? From what Ngeleti has said about her dad, I'm tired. I want to sleep on his behalf. I can't imagine waking up for having something else to do at this time. Coming back then, that's just not for me. Like, I know for that, maybe I'm still growing or something, but that's just not for me. Like, we all know things that are for us and things that are not for us. For me, hustling culture is not for me, because personally, I hate being tired. I hate being tired. I hate overworking myself, because my body crashes in a way. If I overwork myself, I'm gonna crash on a hospital bed. Number one, that's why hustle culture is not for me. If the only hustling that I do is investments, that's how my soft life is gonna come. We said we're going to talk about stocks and whatnot. But yeah, that's when my soft life is going to come. So I'll take my salary that I work for from 7:30 until 4, serving people, doing what I do best, serving people, and then take a chunk of that, invest in my investments, and they'll pay me back. So hustling, this thing of constantly being on my feet, constantly, I could say, I just don't connect to it. I just don't. It's just not for me. Do you understand? Like, personally now, I feel like that those people, I feel like there's a community for me, like those people who feel like when business is not for them. Like, now, honestly, I've made peace with I'm gonna serve people in a hospital. Like, I like, that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Not start up, maybe I can start up a hospital, but I'm definitely going to give it to somebody else to manage and whatnot. Now my job will just to come and serve people and then go home and serve myself. That's why hustle culture is not for me. As for marketing yourself, okay, you said something about me working on radio. Personally, even if I do put it on my CV, it does not say anything about servicing legs. It does not say anything about the field that I'm in. So it's just, oh, that's nice. Oh, that's cute. But then what else? Do you understand?
See,
So
that's the thing, Takatso.
But
It's a lot of employers aren't looking for things that are in your field, right? They look for other things.
because a whole lot of people have them. Yeah.
Yeah,
in my
because you all
field,
have. I'm
no,
telling
you see
you.
the example that Happiness gave about, like for other industries, I'm gonna say for other industries, man. For other industries, it's easy to break in using that extra little help. Your TikTok, your Instagram is very much easy to crack into that. But in the field that I'm in, nobody cares if you're on TV. Nobody cares if you don't have the critical skills for doing legs and servicing other people. Like if you don't have those critical skills that you went to school for, me being on radio or me being on TV, really, it doesn't even put me, like, it's just, oh, that's nice, that's cute. Do you understand? So in terms of branding yourself, I feel like it's important to brand yourself in the industry that you're in. For example, in my industry, you can brand yourself through EXP1, you can brand yourself in EXP2. For example, there's this girl who did her EXP1 and she recently done her EXP2 at this hospital. So they already know her. She's already branded herself through that work. So now she's coming to do internship. They already know her work. So even if she does come and say, I've been doing this and that, they don't really count. So again, with the branding, it has to be in line with what you are. In line with the big five in your instance. It has to be in line with instance, yeah, Happiness, with the entertainment area. Me, even if Gilly Beyonce, like Beyonce can't fix a leg, so me being Beyonce won't do anything for me. It's just gonna be, oh hi, then that's it. But anyways, this is just something that I have an unusual thing, an unusual thought of train about. And I try by all means not to get into it because not a lot of people understand it.
Okay, but I'm just gonna weigh in right
I
there.
understand you, Takatso, but yes, Happiness.
I can tell you, okay, Takatso, say there are 10 of you that have all those critical skills that you are talking about and you've all passed well. So what makes you stand out? By adding this whole radio thingy, I think they can tell you have so much love for the people because this show, we are doing it for the people, for Africa. So that's something that and you don't mind putting in your time without expecting money as well. That's something.
That's
We know a lot of people they're into working the health sector because of money. You understand? But no, they might also look into it. I think it says a lot about you as a person than anything. And before you can go in,
exploitation.
But Takatso, it's not exploitation if you're doing it because you love people, right? So you're giving back. It's not being exploited.
Sissy, get to like 7:30 until 4 just because I love people. Please, no, run me my money.
But okay, so Takatso, what happens where you're at a financial point where you don't necessarily need your 7 to 4, right? You're doing it for the people. Do you mean that you're going to stop doing what you do for the people?
Definitely. When I start chopping money, guys, now I'm going to be in Dubai. I promise you. Me, I'm going to be in Dubai. I'm not going to be doing it for the people. No, like there's a certain point where you do it for the people, but also, guys, like a little reward here and there encourages you to keep doing it for the people. Do you know? Like I've been in so many organizations where we're doing volunteer work, but it got to a point that we had to beg people to keep doing the volunteer work. Do you understand? So like a little bit of appreciation here and there, a little bit of a push, I'll definitely continue doing it for the people. But what I'm against is being exploited because I love doing it for the people. Don't blame me by saying, oh, you love the people. I do love the people, but I also love Dubai. So let me go to Dubai. So guys, I'm not bringing any solutions to the table.
Anyways, we have a comment in the comment section from Fulani Magais. I hope I'm saying the surname properly. She left a tip for the first year. She is saying, oh, sorry. sorry for the gender. Yeah. He is saying, always stay organized, prioritize your tasks. Sometimes you may have exams and assignments due on the same time in more than one class. Always prioritize what's important. I think we emphasized on this last week, Gore, you need to know your priorities very well. If you know, Gore, especially during the exam season, you have little time and they don't care. They can make you write an exam today, 2 exams today, and another one on the following day. So please master your priorities. Am I gone? No.
No,
No,
yeah.
yeah,
Am I still here?
yes. Yes, definitely. What Shanima guys is
Oh,
saying is very important, and I think first years need to understand that you cannot say that, oh, for the first 2 weeks I'm just gonna chill and enjoy uni life, and then you start 2 weeks later. It's too late. Like, it's really too late. Things start to pile up very quick. Things get real very quick. You will go to the first and so the study guide, page 1, page 2, and then 10 minutes you're done. But don't think that's what's going to happen in the next lecture, because you walk into the next lecture and you'll be like chapter 1, chapter 2 done in one day, right? So it's very important that you stay consistent, stay on top of your work. Don't give yourself a free week off for no reason, right? So if ever, and I mean, it's very important that you allow yourself to rest, right? So personally for me, my Sundays were always off the table, right? So me, wake up on Sunday, go to church in the morning, or if I'm going to church in the evening that day, then do my laundry and, all that therapeutic stuff on Sunday. But it's very important that in between working very hard, you must be able to have a couple of hours of rest to yourself, right? It's very important. Don't allow yourself, and I know this happens so many times during test weeks, don't allow yourself to not bath during test week. Like, it is amazing how empty the showers are during test weeks in university. You won't find anyone in the shower. People don't bath. Guys, please, taking a bath is part of taking care of yourself, right? So go take a bath during test week, brush your teeth during test week, eat during test week. All those things are very important. So that can only happen if you've been prioritizing and being consistent throughout. So if you've been slacking all semester, test week is going to show you flames, right? You will find yourself not bathing, not brushing your teeth, and not eating. And that's obviously going to affect your performance, especially if you are not rested, right? You may study all through the night and fall asleep during the test. And that has to be the worst thing to ever happen. You know the answers, but you fell asleep. So being consistent is very important. Keep to your plan. So if you during the first week of school, and guys, I'm very serious. During the first week of school, and I need you guys to remember me saying this, and that's why I'm saying it so many times. During the first week of school, people often don't work. You'll get to campus, and school maybe starts on a Tuesday, but you'll get to campus and people will rest and they'll say, no, we're still buying textbooks, no, we're still, and they'll take it easy. But by the second week, I promise you guys, it's too late. It's too late to start in the second week. Start by doing small things. So on the first day, when you get your study guide, read through it. Don't be those people who ask guys 5 days before the exam, what's the weighting of our semester test for last week? Guys, please read your study guides, know what counts, know what you're doing when, stay on top of things, know your module. So the first day of going to classes is for you to know your module. When I ask you tomorrow, so what assessments do you have in civil procedure? You should be able to tell me, in civil procedure, we're going to have an assignment, we're going to have a test, and we're going to have 3 online tests and the exam. That's what makes up our marks. It's very important for you guys to know these things. Take that first day of classes to get to know your modules. Take the next day. If you have textbooks, start getting to it. But also, a lot of lecturers will give you handouts during the first week because they understand people can't buy textbooks on the very first day, right? So often they'll give you handouts. If not, libraries often have online copies or hardbook copies if you're on campus. Use those things. So don't say, I don't have textbooks, I can't study. Go to the library, find the book, right? Okay, I think in first year, well, in our school, in first year, they don't allow you to take books out of the library because first year. But then you can sit in the designated areas, go through the book, and then put it back and go do whatever you want. But please be serious. Like, don't be super, super serious. It's very important. First week, also get to know the place, look around, but do something. Don't just do nothing. Yeah, just my piece of advice.
And I also want to go back to the whole selling yourself thing, because I think it's very important to also share my experience, because it has helped me. So I don't want to be selfish. First of all, I want to say what I'm in the aviation industry, and how I got in, how I passed that interview. The interview was not even about me or what I was doing previously or my knowledge for the sector as a whole, but they were talking about, or they were interviewing me about something that I used to do, which was a student association that I founded, which was there to just help bridge the gap between matric and university. So you can imagine how nice the interview was, because I was basically talking about something that I'm used to doing, something not hectic, something that I love doing. So it was not a train smash. So that, I think that's what we are saying about selling yourself. The other thing about hustle, I'm all for hustle culture. I'm sorry, but I'm all for hustle culture. And I just want to share what last year, I think I was doing a lot of things. Amongst my 9 to 5, I used to cook. I used to cook every Mondays and Fridays. I used to cook mochodu. Guys, you know how mochodu is tiring. We used to wake up at around 2 a.m. to clean it and then start cooking, because there were a lot of things on the menu. And then I'll get on it, do deliveries, because I was selling, delivering, and then after that, I still have to prepare for work or do tutoring, because I also had students that I was tutoring last year. And it was very strenuous. I used to be so tired, but the mullah kept me going, because I knew from my 9 to 5, the salary is mine. The tutoring money will buy me groceries, and the money that I get from the cooking thingy, I'll send it home, black tax. You all know that. So I encourage it, because it increases your baby tanking. Should I say it's passive income? It increases your income. And then later, so you've talked about the stocks. I've been in the stock market for what? I've joined in 2018. And I know it's like a gradual invest. Like you can't say it's a short-term investment. It's for your long-term investment. If you're going into stocks, just know you shouldn't cash out like in few months or in a year, because you won't enjoy the moolah. The profits are not much versus your hustles day in day. You know, and you can do something. So for your stocks, it's for your long-term investments. So I'm just gonna leave it as that. At that, and I want to say to our audience, please do not forget to share the live airing, engage. We're also there on YouTube. If you want to watch this airing again, we are Bold Moves Radio. And here on Facebook, if you're not following us, please make sure that you like the page. We are still Bold Moves Radio. We are currently talking about life after graduation. So make sure to share the airing so that we can get more people to share their experiences. And you can also share your experience in the comment section. Over to you, Madam Host.
Thank you, Happiness. Thank you for the wonderful insights. It's very important to have multiple streams of income, right? Especially if your one source of income cannot sustain you. So like you've spoken about the importance of investments. It's very important also as a working person, even as a student, to have certain things, right? Once you start working, you need to have a retirement annuity. You should have medical aid, probably have risk cover, but all those things we will discuss in the episode we're going to have about financial planning and finances. So definitely please look out for that episode. It's going to be very informative, and not only for newly graduates, for everyone. So everyone needs to definitely bring your parents, guys. We need to talk to them about this multiple funeral covers. Why do you have 5 funeral covers? For what reason? Like, are you going to have 5 funerals? Why do you have 5 of them? You only need one, and then you need a life cover. But that is something that's going to be handled in the finances. Because I mean, you have 5 funeral covers and all of them buy your coffin. Auntie, are we burying you 5 times? Do we bury you, take you out, next coffin, please, guys. It's very frustrating. It bothers me. But anywho, back to life after graduation. Before we got Taraza to tell us about her soft life aspirations, she was about to tell us about the critical skills, and she told us she felt trapped to something. We are looking for story time, madam. So yes, Taraza, please take it away.
I have, guys, I can't emphasize how much hellish South Africa is, because even with the critical skills, you're not guaranteed a job, but then there are critical skills. So you stand a better chance of securing a job if you are in information technology and communication. If you're in engineering, engineering, I have a battle with it, because every household has an electrical engineer that's seated at home. So I don't understand how engineering is still a critical skill, but I'm hoping what they're talking about the other engineering, like your mechanical engineering, your whatever engineering. I have no idea about engineering. And then one of the other critical skills is healthcare professionals and its siblings, you know, your pharmacist, your, I'm not going to talk about ourselves because, well, your doctors, your physiotherapists and whatnot. And this one, I definitely know for sure it's a risk. Architects and town planners and surveyors, guys, go study those things. Like, please, I need a beautiful house. What having it done? So please do study that. Do study that. And then another critical skill will be business management and economics. I just don't have much information on that. And then another thing, guys, we don't have the professionals in natural and social sciences. Like, I know for a fact there are only a few of your biochemists, there are a few of your linguistics. You know that thing. Yeah, what? You know it. I can't pronounce it. But yeah, those are just some of the rest. But then some of these things, it is scam, guys. So just go to school. I can say just go to school. We were told, okay, not told, we know for a fact that medical orthotics and prosthetics is a very needed, a very crucial thingy, a very crucial section of health. But we are there, but we are not there. But it is very important. Like, there's no day where local you don't see 5 patients. If I were to open a little mkuku here, if I was for hustle culture and open a little mkuku here, the things would start popping. But yeah, just go to school, guys. It's very important. I can say, as much as unemployment is high up there, having a degree or a diploma or a certificate, somehow it gives you a knock at the door. Sure, it might not open the door, but then it gives you, like, you know, they can look at you, they can think about you. So do go to school. Even if you do send us your links to your songs, go to school.
Links to songs.
I agree. There's something that is very Takato said something that is very profound. She said, getting a qualification gives you a knock on the door. You might, the door might not open, but it gives you that, you know? So it's very, very important for you to get qualified. And another thing, tabaya engineering. I personally think, based on my research, obviously, there's certain courses that are technical. Engineering to be specific. Engineering, the plumbing, you know the courses. I just don't know a better term to associate them, to call them. But those courses, I think they're better for the colleging, what's this? Your universities of TVETs, because check these unemployable graduates by engineering ke ba batlang ko university, and then ba dutseng ka bontsi, it's bakiba, you know, there are these end things, I just don't know how they work, but the N1, N2, N3, motho o e feleletsa go N2, then yeah, I'm an electrical engineer, but for you to be employable, you need to get and something. So the same thing goes with AKD linguistics that you're talking about. People get a degree by push it to an honors, then chill. And then for those courses, they need you to have a master's. So you should do a proper research about whatever that you want to enroll in.
Definitely happiness. I think it's also very important. This is a conversation I was having with my mother actually just a few days ago. It's important for you to know like I know plans change, but when you go to university, you should know what exactly at that point in time, what is it that you desire to achieve after graduating. And that doesn't mean that you must stick to the T, to the plan that you had in first year. Sometimes things change, sometimes you discover new things, but when you go and study something, you must have a plan. Don't walk into a degree and be like, I don't know what I want to do. You may not be sure, but you should have some sort of aspiration, have some sort of goal. And doing something like that, having something like that also helps you to choose where you want to go. So Happiness just mentioned something very important, right? So engineering is offered at universities, at universities of technology, at colleges, at TVETs, right? But depending on what you want to do with your engineering degree, you'll be able to choose which of those institutions are best suited for your goals, right? So if you want to go and lecture engineering, you probably won't go to a place where they teach it on a practical scale. You'll go to a university where it's more theory because you want to teach. And when you teach, you do a lot of theory. But if you want to go and practice, and this is something that I think a lot of people don't consider, right? Everyone kind of says, oh, I want to go to university, but you don't actually realize that what you want to do, your end goal, your desired end goal, you would better achieve it if you went to a university of technology. Because all these things aren't just names for the sake of it. They fulfill different functions. And as soon as our people start understanding the different functions of these different institutions, we'll have a much more educated system with graduates who know what they're doing. Because I think a lot of problems also arise with the fact that graduates don't know what they want, right? So we all went to study law and we're all applying for articles. But if you had carefully thought through what you want to do, you would have actually seen that I don't want to do articles. I actually want to go work in the prosecutor's office, or I want to go and work in a bank, or these different things, right? So it's important to plan out your career even before you go and study what you study, and then choose an institution based on what will help you get to that point that you want to get to. And I mean, institutions are very important, right? So certain institutions carry heavy names. They help, you said that having a qualification helps you knock. Being at a certain institution may help you put your foot in the door, right? So it's also important for you to check the rankings of what you want to study, right? So if I want to go and study law, I'll probably want to apply at a place where their law faculty is highly ranked, right? It helps you put your foot in the door. You are at a place where employers are looking for you guys, right? So when people plan their things, so we shouldn't, for example, if I had a friend who wanted to study medicine and I wanted to study law and another one wanted to go study economics, we can't all say, oh, let's go to UP, we can all be friends. I may be getting value out of going to UP because it's ranked the #1 faculty in Africa for law, but someone else may not be getting value out of there because it's not highly ranked in whatever course they're going to study. It's important when you choose your degree, look at the different institutions and whether it's good for your end goal. But this is just some information for the first years as well. But yeah, let me give it back to someone else before I speak on too long.
Yeah, now I'll be taking you through the skills where you should try to stay away, because I can't really say there's a surplus of them, but they have the highest unemployment rate. Number 1, human resources. Guys, I know it sounds, there are a lot of you who do this thing, you are not accepted in law, you're not accepted in engineering, so you're going to go for HR for the time being. Please resist the edge. rather upgrade your marks so that you can get into what you want than just taking up the they're gonna waste the time and whatnot. Like as Nyelisi said, plan your things. And if things don't go according to plan, you can always cancel that plan out and draw up another one. Number 2, industrial psychology and labor relations. I actually do not understand the difference between industrial psychologist and a clinical psychologist and a psychologist, but yeah. Industrial psychologists and labor relations also have the highest unemployment rate. And then majors in government or political studies, which does not make sense because who are these people in our government? Because that's what you guys, shouldn't they be in Dubai already? I feel like they should be in Dubai enjoying the retirement, giving those other kids who majored in government and political studies a chance to get into there. Because at least they actually studied for that. So I am requesting a meeting with the parliamentary people. We need to talk, guys. And another one is art. Your bachelor in of arts, ne? Bachelor of Arts in blah blah blah. Yeah, they also have the highest unemployment rate, but I think it's because with those ones you usually have to get to your masters before they can start considering to hire you, right? I don't know if I'm wrong, but I think it's those ones. So now, please, guys, when try going for things that are going to benefit you in the long run. Try going for things that are in line with your plan. And if your plan doesn't work out, permanent marker, you can always rubber somewhere and then into something that's going to benefit you. Because life happens, things change, we understand. So yeah, if things don't go according to plan, try coming up with another plan. As well, you can't be moved. Like you can move. Be flexible, always be prepared, like have plan A until Z if you have to, so that if another plan doesn't fall through, you have one, you have your backup plan. But plan your things and stay away from those. But honestly, baka government thing, I need to have a serious chat with them because what's this?
Okay. Yeah, sorry, Nyeleti. Like it's you know, there are also those courses, if you're not a Van der Merwe, is very difficult to break into the sector. So you need to make sure maybe in your earlier years, first years, research companies, and if it means you have to go there every week and even or over a coffee girl, just do it. You have to build your own connection. Unfortunately, not all our parents worked hard enough to build these connections for us. So it's totally up for us to make our own connections.
Definitely. Like, guys, we know we live in a world, we live in South Africa. I'm going to keep saying this, we live in South Africa. We live in South Africa where connections get you the job than your qualifications. So during your internships, your bargaining, we have this experiential training. During one of those things, that's where you get to build up your network. That's where you get to meet people in the same sector as you. That's where you get to make not really friends, but associates. So go lady internshiping, don't be like me and be antisocial. Like getting there, get their numbers, like go out for coffee and stuff, build connections. So when you get out, you can call Happiness and say, you know what, there's a job offer here, and then since we're not Happiness in the shop, you can quickly like CV in. So it's very much important to build connections. Like what's build up the connections down ya onka fela. No, build our connections down then into the big five. They build connections that are gonna take you to aviation school and such stuff. Like if that's serious, I feel like varsity, that's where you have to be serious. That's where you're an adult. That's where your future really is in your hands. As small as they are, your future is in your hands. So you have to make sure, you do everything and anything to get to your goal. So when nobody, you're not gonna do this, you're not gonna do that. If you have to be a coffee girl, be a coffee girl. If you grab bossy my paper every day, do that. Like if I finish in that big company, one day they're gonna remember, oh no, we had Tahasan just doing this. Let's call her. So those are some of the things that you need to build while still in varsity.
That's true. Oh, sorry, Nyeleti, just go in.
Thank you. So many things ran in my mind over the past 2-3 minutes. But I'll start at the very beginning, and I'm going to ask you guys a question. How important do you think it is to, you know, what do you guys think is important? To follow passion? So in the case that your passion is in those unemployment degrees or courses, or do you follow practicality, right? So like Takatsu, you said, the medical industry, right? They are in need of people. So how important do you guys think it is? Do you think one should follow their passion? Do you think that you should follow practicality? And I have my own thoughts on this issue, but I just want to hear from you guys first.
I think following a passion is gonna crash, because what happens when you burn out and you start losing passion for what you're doing? Are you gonna just leave it there? Because as much as I love helping people, at some point you get tired of always being around people and constantly, you know, like we go through a lot with patients, guys. Send me money. We're going through a lot with patients. So imagine going through that for like 15 to 20 years. You start losing interest in your passion. But then if you followed practicality, even if you do lose like a little bit of passion, you're still able to perform your work, you're still able to deliver. So passion is very nice, it sounds very cute and all, but then what's going to happen when it starts bothering? Because passion, it's because we don't really know what we're getting ourselves into. For me, I didn't know what I was getting myself into when I got into orthotics and prosthetics. But in a way, someone would say, well, it was their passion. Mara, you get to EXQ1 and you start seeing the things that we do there, and you're like, eh. So now passion, about like bit by bit is going up. So what's gonna happen now? You finished a diploma. What happens? You no longer have that passion, you know. But then practicality for me.
Okay, thank you. Happiness?
Well, I think, it's a very tricky one, but I also need to emphasize there's a fine line between interest and passion. Sometimes we confuse the two because you have to go through the experience to know if you were just interested in something or you're really passionate about. But for some reason, I believe that passion always wins. It makes you happy. If you are to go for teaching because you're passionate about it, it's just going to automatically make you stand out. You don't have to add anything on your CV. Passion itself is good enough to sell you. And then also, we need to be practical. If you know the industry that you're passionate about is like overloaded, then what are you prepared to do? Like, should you not get employed? What are you going to do? So if you have a plan, go for it. But if you don't have, then just be practical. Yeah, that's all I can say.
You and I are definitely stealing words from each other tonight, because that is definitely my view. I feel like, depending, like we've been speaking about having a plan, depending on, you know, sometimes when you're passionate about something, you won't just wait for employment. You'll do it for yourself, right? No one is employing you. You'll be able to follow through with your passion. And I think what's great about having a passion for something is that you are fulfilled, right? So yes, money coming in is great, but when you're fulfilled, then even when the money isn't as great as you would like it to be, but you're happy. Whereas when you follow practicality, remember, when you follow practicality is because you're looking for stability. So you follow the practical route because you're looking for money, right? That's essentially what practicality is. You are looking for employment, you're looking for security, you're looking for money. And the thing with the practical route is, when the money isn't great, you're not getting anything out of it, right? So you don't like necessarily what you're doing, and there's no money. You are feeling pretty miserable at that point in time. Whereas had you followed passion and the money wasn't great, you still have your passion, right? So I think that's just something. But like you said, happiness, you can also have an interest in something. So even when a person chooses to follow practicality, let the practicality be in something you have interest in, right? That way you stay content in a sense of, in a sort of way. But if you have gone into a certain industry solely based on money, when the money isn't great, you will lose your mind. Because, for example, if a person went to study law because they wanted the money, when you're a candidate attorney, sometimes you don't get paid much. Sometimes you can't even cover rent with what you're being paid. And I mean, that's a good 2 years of really, really hard work, right? You could be spending about 12 hours in the office. And if you followed it for money, and there is no money in such an instance, and there's no interest and there's no passion, then it gets pretty hard. And that's that. I remember when we started this conversation, I said to Takatso, I wasn't in last week. I was hoping that I'm getting some tips on a conversation we were going to have today. And last week I went to do a little bit of an internship at a company, and wow, that company has a very diverse set of people. So probably for all of those people, they stopped what they were doing and went and followed passion. So they're a legal services company. They're not a law firm, so they don't give legal advice. So a lot of those people were lawyers before, and they decided, yo, I don't like practice. This is something I genuinely hate. And they left it and they went to pursue something else, right? And what they do in that company is very different from what a person would do as a practicing attorney in a law firm. So, but essentially it's about, especially for graduates, sometimes when the route you've decided to take isn't working out, it's always possible to stream into something else. And even as a graduate, if you've tried something and you see that you are genuinely not enjoying this, there is a very big world out there, hey? Like, you know how you think, I've done this degree, this is the traditional pathway. There is so much more out there. And I think it just requires a lot of experimenting and searching around, right? So I had never come across the concept of a legal services company before, and I've been doing law for a good 3 years. So it's kind of wild. But it's just to say to the graduates, if you haven't found something that you genuinely enjoy, then it's a really good thought to try a few things, or to branch out and do something new. What do you guys think?
I think like the way internships and in-service training and your experiential learning stuff exposes you to the broader way of doing things. Like it exposes you to, I get a university, they're gonna teach you like just there are no branches, it's no branching out, get info. But then when you get when you apply for those internships, your in-services and whatnot, that's where you get to learn how, even if I don't like doing this, I can still do this, but in the same field. So not all is lost. So internships are very important for that. For me, with me right now, I'm doing my internship and I feel like I'm starting the course all over again, because like my textbook content does not really apply all the time. It's more of the things that I'm exposed to that start working. For example, like alignment and aligning the leg and stuff, casting methods, blah 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 blah. So it really helps with building your knowledge. It really, like, honestly, guys, if you get the opportunity to apply and qualify for an internship before you go into the exact work, do exploit. It's like your vacation, but for career, because you get in there and then you just sit and they teach you everything that you need to know. That's where you pack in, actually, like that's where you pack in everything that you need to know. And again, I did mention Gataweri connection there. Hey guys, it's very important. For South Africa, like, guys, those connections, I beg you. And then what else can I throw? Oh, it also helps you with adapting to the work environment that you'll be going in after graduating. We had the opportunity to have EXP1, EXP2, and then intake. So basically, during our first year, we already knew what we were getting ourselves into, the hours that we had to, the production that we had to do, like all the everything else that that is expected of me when I have graduated and done with the internship. So you get to learn that, you get to If you can check weekend is established. That's because we got that opportunity to establish ourselves. That would be experiential learning one. So do apply for those things if you come across them. I cannot emphasize, like, you get to learn about the working environment. You get to learn to work with people. So, like, you spend a lot of time, you're going to spend half of your life at work. So EXP, the internship gives you that opportunity to, like, get a feel of what you'll be spending the rest of your life doing, besides you just learning. So do attend to those. Mara, before we can, wrap this up, I have this thing against passion, guys. I have this thing against it. I saw something on Twitter. I don't know how true it is. I just haven't looked into it. But taxes are going to increase again. So if we are going to follow, is passion going to pay our bills? Because living in South Africa gets more expensive every year. Like, I think so. Even if I have $1, I still cannot afford a loaf of bread. So is passion going to pay our bills? Let's be realistic when we're following our passions and our practicality. If you've studied law, it means you had interest in it, so it can carry you long enough to afford to live in South Africa. So let's encourage these kids, for as much as they're following their as much as they're following their passion, they should remember who live in South Africa where the cost of living is high. So they need the stability, they need the security of a salary. So the interest is gonna carry you. That's what I'm gonna tell you from my side. I'll hand this to Happiness.
Thank you, Takatso. I see it's 20:46. Normally we close the comment section at 20:45, but today we are not closing it because this conversation is really heated. So I just want us to go through a mini poll. I'm going to ask you guys questions and then you're going to say either yes or no and give a reason to it. And I encourage our audience to also participate in this thing. So there's a poll that was going on about perceived causes of graduate unemployment. So I want to know from you, do you think lack of experience is a cause of unemployment? Just be very quick because we are already running out of time.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yes.
give a reason. Oh, it doesn't need a reason.
Do you say yes and provide the reason, or do you just say yes and then move?
Now you can give a reason, substantiate or something. Because for me, regarding this one, yes, it's a possible reason, but these days employers are being ridiculous. But job experience should start from 5 years. Like, when do people actually learn? When do they get that experience? Which are all the posts that you're looking at, 5 years minimum. So where do they expect you to get all the experience?
My point. That's exactly my thoughts.
I agree with you, Happiness, and I'm gonna throw in something I know Takatso will hate. Sometimes you need to go get your experience unpaid, right? So if it happens that you are unable to secure a job after you graduate, why are you sitting at home? Go and offer someone who does whatever you're doing. If there's a law firm next to you, go and offer them your services, especially if they're close by where you can actually reasonably get to work. Go offer your services. Tell them, okay, you don't need to pay me. Or maybe ask them, okay, you can give me money for transport for a taxi. That way you're getting experience in the time of your unemployment whilst you're applying. And as soon as you're able to get a job, then you can at least have experience. Because I've seen people who have their law degrees and they sat at home and they said, oh, I haven't gotten articles. There are so many law firms around who wouldn't mind free labor. And yes, this is hustle mentality. And this is true exploitation. But you're getting yourself that experience that all these other people are telling you don't have. Right? So you may as well just use that time instead of sitting at home and eating your mother's grocery. Go and work.
Thank you. Point number 2, lack of corruption and nepotism. Do you think it's a possible cause of unemployment? In the order, Takatso?
Definitely, we live in South Africa, people. Definitely. Because when I run to, I'll feel.
Reality.
I agree. Especially, remember Takatso spoke about the students who studied politics and government. There's definitely an issue of corruption because they're qualified and the people who work there aren't. But that's another issue for another day. But yes, I agree. I believe it is.
Yeah, and connections. I think most jobs really crack at connections. So having realized or this is how we are operating in South Africa, we should start making connections for ourselves and our kids. Because it's not going away.
Let's please make connections in corruption-free ways, right? So let your connections be that someone considers you because they know you, but you're qualified. Don't let it be one of those, you're not qualified. Like there's no way on earth you would get the job, but you got it. Let's not contribute to corruption through connections.
I do agree. I forgot to just add that in a corruption-free way.
Yes.
The third one, institution attended. Do you think that also plays a role?
Not really. I don't think it does. But in practical industries, it does.
I think it really does. I'll give another example in the field that I'm in. The big 5 firms only take students from certain universities, and that's a known truth. And as much as it's unfair, right? Because sometimes you are only able to access a certain university, but they don't consider students from those universities simply because they have connections with the universities they consider, right? So they believe that those are quality students. So I think depending on industry, but definitely in my industry, it really matters where you come from.
I also think it plays a role. That is why I encourage research. We know those institutions that are good at certain I don't want to say course. What's the collective word for courses? Like the BCom label in we know accountancy, it falls under a certain thing. Okay, with lack of a better word, I'm just gonna use course. Faculty, yeah. We know it's not a lie or UJ produces the best accountants. So if you know or you are gonna go for something in that sector, consider it first. Then because it does play a role. Okay, we are moving on to another point. Lack of job market information.
I'm in between places.
All right.
I think it does to a certain extent. Like I said, people go to school and they think, oh, advocate, attorney, and that's all they apply for. You don't think, let me go apply at a bank. Let me go apply at a company and be in-house legal. Let me go apply at a legal services company. We all flock to the known things, whereas if we did more research, we'd figure out that there is so much more out there, and we'd be able to spread it out in a way that the unemployment rate for low graduates wouldn't be so high.
This point, it's the first one where people disagreed with it. A lot of people were agreeing with us, but this one, but no, it's not lack of job market information. People know where to market, they're just not taking them in. So yeah. The last one, lack of job search capabilities.
I disagree. Maybe if was a job for yeah. But when I have a degree and whatnot, I know what I'm looking for. I know how to search for it. I know it's innovative.
Okay. Nellity?
I'm on the fence. I think it doesn't contribute so much. If it does, it's a very small margin. Simply because, like Takatso said, people know where to find work. But also sometimes, especially for the smaller companies, they don't put out job opportunities out there. You need to find them in other ways, right? Either by following a lot of those people on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is very important, guys. build a profile, you'll find job opportunities there quite quick. But I've seen a lot of small companies, they don't do big advertisement for job opportunities. And so when you come across it, it's like, oh wow, I didn't know you exist. So that's why I'm kind of on the fence.
All right. Okay. A lot of people are disagreeing with the house. 93% agree that lack of job search capabilities plays a huge role. Like this is one point where a lot of people agreed in. So I think Tabaya, LinkedIn, a lot of people underestimate the power of that too. I don't know if anybody has information about LinkedIn, how to quickly create a LinkedIn account and how it can help you. Just quickly go in before we wrap up.
I'll give it a shot. Being quick isn't my thing, but just briefly, you can do it on the web or you can download the app. It requires you to put in a certain amount of information for you to receive a approved status for your LinkedIn profile. But once you get in, guys, start by search one person that you know in your field, and then the rest will come. So give it some time, right? Sit down and tell yourself, today I'm working on my LinkedIn. I have that, every once in a couple of months, I do sit down and say, today I'm working on my LinkedIn. I'm building my network. Because on your LinkedIn, also linked to job opportunities, you can get a lot of connections. And guys, it's important. LinkedIn is meant for you to shoot your shot, right? So send those people messages. Some will respond, some won't. Some will offer you mentorship. And guys, imagine being mentored by the best in the industry. It does a lot for you. It helps you. So when you create a LinkedIn profile, don't just create things and put all your stuff there and act like it's a CV sitting on your table. No, once in a while, if you know you're looking, you are actively looking for something, go on there, message people, ask them if they'd like to have you over for an internship, ask them to mentor you, ask them a few questions about the industry. People on LinkedIn, especially graduate recruiters or employers, they love people who ask them questions. It looks like you're a go-getter. You want what you want and you're going to get it. So you will most likely have some positive thing come out of interactions on LinkedIn.
Yo, I really didn't know that. I just thought LinkedIn, you throw in your CV and you just relax. So I just learned something about it. And again, I should also say, I was privileged that the high school that I went to, they helped us, or they created LinkedIn profiles and Gmails. So I think all schools should adopt this thing, because I'm still using the same email and the same profile that I got in high school. So things were a lot easier. Like I was spoon fed. So I think I'd love it. I think it's a very good initiative, and I'd love for it to be adopted by many schools, if not all schools.
Can I just say, if you're able to set up your Facebook, you'll be more than able to set up your LinkedIn profile. If you're able to set up an Instagram account, you'll be able to set up a LinkedIn account. It's easy. It's just flowing. So even if they do not tell you, just download the app. It's just like any other treat it like any other social media, but don't be a clown. But treat it like any other social media account that you have, and just follow the steps.
Also, I just love to caution. Can I just drop something in, Happiness, on LinkedIn? I'd just love to caution everyone. Guys, LinkedIn is everyone posting their achievements, right? So don't hop onto LinkedIn and feel discouraged when you see people posting their graduate with distinction, starting a new position. Take courage, right? So don't allow yourself to be discouraged, because I've seen a lot of people stop their LinkedIn profiles because when you hop onto LinkedIn, it just looks like everyone is doing so great and you kind of feel, I'm not doing as great. Take motivation from those things, right? Hop into their comments, congratulate them, build yourself a network. You will definitely get to a point where you're also posting great things, starting my new job and all those nice stuff. Yeah.
I see we are running out of time, but I just want to find out from you ladies, do you think the profile picture there plays a role? Does it matter or not? Because I would see profile pictures and I'm like, is this even appropriate? Does it matter or not?
It definitely does. So when people open your LinkedIn profile, the first thing they see is your name there with your profile picture right there. So it's your name, your profile picture, and that little short thing that you put under there. So if you're a student, put third year, blah, 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 student, and looking for, make it something they see and they know what you're about. So don't put a full body picture on your LinkedIn. It's not a good idea. Get a nice headshot. It must be professional. So it must be the kind of picture that they would put on the company website. If you are not sure that is a picture they put on the company website, don't put it on your LinkedIn, because then when they see your name quickly, you look unprofessional and they kind of just swept right past you.
Before the main host close up, there are just a few comments in here. Well, it's Rulani Baloni. They were participating in the game. I was out there, so let me just read them through. RES, nepotism makes those not competent to occupy positions that they make no impact on. Employers look for the best skilled people. How will you get something when you do not know where to look? Well, they were answering to those points that we're talking about. And the last one are, we have graduates who cannot tell you where they wish to work after receiving their qualification. And that's it from the comment side. I'm sorry to the main driver of this house.
No, thank you. And we'd really just love to thank everyone for their engagement in the comments. We had a great time engaging with you, and we always have a great time talking to you. I think we had so much more planned for this session, but there's just so much information that you really just want to get across. And we have unfortunately ran out of time. But, we always here every Tuesday, 7 p.m., just here to have good conversations that are very impactful on our lives. Every time we have a session of Bay Waves, our intention is you should walk out of the episode with something you learned, whether it's to apply to your own life or to apply to, you can tell someone who's in the situation where the information is relevant to them. But I'd also just love to thank my co-host, Takatso, and my other co-host, Happiness, for being so amazing in today's show, and also our research. So it's not just us, we have a whole team, our technical team, our research assistants. Thank you so much for making Bay Waves a success. We truly, truly appreciate it. But like we said, we've run out of time, and we hope these conversations we're definitely going to continue having over the course of the next few weeks. We have a lot of interesting things, so please always do tune in 7 p.m. on a Tuesday. Also check out Bold News Radio for a number of other shows that they are currently hosting. New shows are being rolled out, and they're all very impactful and of good use to everyone's life. And it's just information that sometimes you ignored, you looked over. That is really important. So I'll just give my co-host 1 second to quickly say goodbye, and then we can close the show.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bold Moves Radio on YouTube and Bold Moves Radio on Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you.
A keyword for today's show, life after graduation, gay research. That's all that I have to say. Make sure you do your research and you'll win. Good night. We love you.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.